Hi, everyone. It's Mitch from PickDogs.com. I got Steve Monahan with us for our Halloween version of our NFL preview show. I'm all sharked up here and ready to go. Wearing I don't know what material this is, but in Hawaii at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, not the most comfortable thing. I'll wear it until we're ready to start doing games because then you guys know I get all heated and stuff. Steve, how's it going?
Good. I dressed up, of course. People that know me know my Roger jersey is behind me. I'm wearing it for Halloween. So I'm the Roger Staubach, the 1963 Heisman Trophy winning quarterback from Navy. And, of course, the Dallas Cowboys 10-year Super Bowl MVP and NFL Hall of Fame.
Of course, I'm a surfer, so I wear the man in the gray suit, we call him, the shark. But hello to everyone who's joining us. We're here for the NFL show. I'm going to, I don't know how long I'm going to last in this shark costume, to be honest with you.
Let's see over-under. Let's get some audience takes on this one. Team A versus Team B. Over-under on Mitch wearing that shark outfit.
I'm going to say under. I like the under.
I like the under, too.
I'm cooking. I was gonna save it for halftime tonight of the game, but instead decided to go with it for the live show.
All right, boy. Halloween spirit, nothing wrong with that.
Nope, absolutely not. I think I'm obviously a shark. I was gonna go as Jared Goff,
but all the costumes were taken already because it's so popular.
I was gonna just wear a rag on my arm. And a dunce cap.
I think the Marcus Mariota jerseys are aplenty in the Halloween shops too. Your boy Marcus, you keep referring to.
Yeah, I'll tell you, in Hawaii, he's still pretty popular.
I get it.
But anyways, we're gonna do our NFL preview.
Is your body temperature up to 107 by now?
It's getting there. The way that this show generally works is Steve and I just go through the card of games, and then Wednesday we do college football, Thursday we do NFL, and Friday it's football free-for-all, as we do whatever games you guys want to hear about. So, of course, we got NFL action tonight. I've given out my pick in this game. I like the over. I have a premium pick on the side. So,
So, you asking me what I think?
Yes.
I think the 49ers, I know it's 10 points. I'm going to ride the 49ers until they lose. I don't care that they're playing the Cardinals in the desert. I'm sure the weather will be nice. 49ers defense has really been playing very well. I think Garoppolo in a good environment is playing efficiently. Until the 49ers lose, you know, they're 7-0 for the first time since 1990. They're bound to lose, I get it. But against the Cardinals, I'll take the Niners here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the over. I think we're gonna see plenty of scoring in this one. We'll go to London on Sunday. I'm really starting to hate these London games, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, I think they're too frequent now.
Yeah, it's just too many games, you know, for London. And I think it was nice when it was a novelty, but now what it is that if you want to host the Super Bowl, then you've got to.
If you had the under, you won.
Yeah, if you want to host the Super Bowl, you have to play a London game. Is the way that works. So you're seeing all these teams like Texans, the Dolphins, you know, rushing to play these London games so they can get that Super Bowl. But it is the Texans against the Jaguars here in London. We got the Texans, who we've been on a lot this season, a 1.5 favorite here. 61% of the public on Deshaun Watson and the gang. Jacksonville 1.5 dog, 39% of the public.
I got a feeling on the Jags here, especially the fact that a majority of the people are on the Texans. I think the Texans are not as good. They're playing well, but not as good as a lot of people may think they are, myself included. I think the Jags are slowly ascending. They got a good defense. I think Fournette is starting to run well. I mentioned the Gardner Minshew magic maybe waning a bit, but the Jags are a tough team, and it's a point and a half last I saw it. So I'll take the Jags in London.
I really like the Jags in this game. I don't know why James Joseph is talking about college football. Yesterday was our college football show, and tomorrow is college football free-for-all. And it's football free-for-all, what you're talking about. Today is our NFL show. So if you want to talk college football, the place to do that, go to the Facebook group. We got tons of people talking games all day long. But this is the NFL show. So we'll keep that on topic. Anyways, I really like the Jaguars in this game. I said this in my YouTube video this week, and this is just one of those things. The London game is a weird game. It's a timing issue because it is played at 9:30 in the morning U.S. time, so that's the time that these guys would all be on, except for Houston. Actually, it would be 8:30 in the morning their time. The thing is that Jacksonville plays in London every single year, right? So this is old hat to them. This is something they do all the time. They know all the restaurants. They know what hotels to stay at. They know the routine, right? Tom Coughlin is involved in the management of the Jaguars. He's Mr. Routine. Remember the first time with the Jaguars, he tried to throw Natrone Means off the team for sitting on his helmet. It's like this guy is a Army guy, and it's like having the routine, and I'm not just saying that he's an Army guy or anything like that, but I'm just saying having the routine, getting, the cheeseburgers and fries, and knowing where to get that stuff, and knowing how to get to the stadium, and what buses.
What's the Tom Coughlin rule? You're not there 5 minutes early. You're late. You're late.
Right? Ask Michael Strahan.
That says it all about what Tom Coughlin epitomizes. So.
Exactly, and I just think that in this game, this type of game, this really is the Jags of all teams. This is really a home field advantage for them in this one. And I like the Jags a ton in this game. And, I've been on the Texans so much this season, but not here. Let's go to the city of brotherly love. Philadelphia Eagles 4-4 now. Chicago Bears, I've been hating on Trubisky since day one. Steve was kind of a defender of Trubisky.
But no longer. Listen, I think the Chicago base, I think even Matt Nagy, the head coach, is really there's not much more to defend with Trubisky. To your point, the Bears, they sacrificed the first round pick to jump up and get this guy, and he's just not progressing like a lot of people would like. And that being said, he's not playing well, so I like the Eagles here.
Yeah, my guess is that call was going to tell me about my insurance. So I've asked James Joseph a couple times now about the college football and the NFL football thing, about this show. So he's no longer welcome on our show anymore. And it's like, I thought I was super polite. People say that I'm an asshole about this stuff and, whatever.
He gave us plenty of time. Sorry, James.
I thought I was super nice to this guy. I just thought that I really went through it with him about how this show works. But
no, he's being a little nudge.
Yeah, he's out, and it's sad because I know that when I first started doing the online stuff, I really struggled with the large crowds and the questions and all this stuff, and I have I could be short-tempered and all that other stuff, but I've tried to over the past year, I made a New Year's resolution over a year ago saying there would be a kinder, gentler niche on these shows, and I think I've done that, but this guy,
James Joseph.
This sort of stuff really.
It's too common of a name.
Yeah, just uncool. Anyways, if you're watching us, be sure to hit the thumbs up, and of course, if you're watching us, hit the thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our channel. But Steve, back to the Bears and the Eagles.
Yeah, I know you're a Trubisky hater. I think it's taken me a little bit longer, but I think I'm starting to see the writing on the wall with Trubisky. He hasn't developed into a bona fide number one pick. This is year 3 here with them. And he's going on the road. He's coming off an injury. The Bears haven't been playing good offense. The Eagles, on the other hand, have a lot to play for. They got to get back into the mix. They're home. I take the Eagles winning by a touchdown. So I like the Eagles covering. Last I saw was 4.5 points.
Yeah, it's up to 5. I'm going to take the Bears in this one. This is a rematch of the playoff game last year, and the Bears missed the field goal. The Bears haven't, when you have a quarterback like Trubisky and a defense like the Bears have, your defense is going to keep you in games. They're going to be low-scoring games, and the other quarterbacks will be running for his life. And Carson Wentz pretty fragile, so the over.
He's still healthy though.
Yeah, well, he hasn't played against this defense yet.
Well,
and these guys get after the passer, and Khalil Mack, and then you have Eddie Jackson. He's one of my guys, right? Eddie Jackson is one of Mitch's type guys, right? And
I am not discounting the Bears defense whatsoever.
I'm not as big a Khalil Mack fan as a lot of the other people out there, backer, because I've seen him take plays off. I've also seen him sucking wind in the second half. But Eddie Jackson is a gamer. This guy's like, there are certain safeties and corners, and throughout the NFL that really can anchor a defense, and he's just one of those guys, that he walks the walk. And I just really like him.
He's a good ball player. I'm not denying Eddie Jackson.
I think this is going to be a close game. I do, and I think it's going to come down to a last-second field goal. Maybe the Eagles miss it this time.
Why? Because Eddie Pinheiro missed his last week?
No. The playoff game last year.
I know, but Pinheiro missed a field goal game winner.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm going back to the playoff game.
I get it.
But
the Bears.
I'll go back to last week's game and say, if the Bears had a quarterback, they had 100 chances to win that game. They have no quarterback. I said when Trubisky was drafted that here's a guy that needs another year. That it's kind of the Mark Sanchez, Trubisky. These are the guys that another year he would have been a different quarterback. And it's like then they threw him into the fire, and now he's the deer in the headlights. And
that's a good point. That's a valid point. They could have used another year of seasoning in college.
Well, I was going to say he's a poor man's Matt Castle, but I'll just say that he is Matt Castle. That's all I'm saying. It's same, one and the same. Sanchez, Castle.
So he'll be employed by the NFL for 15 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Being back up
absolutely.
For 11
but he'll never see this kind of salary. He'll never see this kind of salary potential ever again.
So again, I like the Eagles here.
I like the Bears. Let's go to Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes still on the shelf. Man, the Chiefs have had some pretty rough games here during the Patrick Mahomes injury stint. But, these are games that they could have lost anyway. So maybe, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's tough to say. It's like if you had them and you lost, well, that's one thing, And now that you don't have them and you lost, these are kind of the games that you could have lost anyway. Green Bay and, But Minnesota, 2-2 on the road against the number, 2-2 straight up. But those 2 wins have been the recent games, as they've been a lot better on the road. And of course, one of those road losses at Chicago, close game. Meanwhile, Kansas City didn't. They did a lot of things that I thought they were going to do in that game against the Packers, dunking. But eventually, you got to dink. If you're going to dunk, you got to dink. And they didn't do it. And they couldn't get it done. They kind of hung their defense out to dry in that game. And a good defense will keep you in the game. But in today's football, both college and NFL, with the rules, you can't leave your defense on the field all day because the rules are stacked against them. Jay Brissett is another one who, this is our NFL show. So it's like, if you want to talk college football, yesterday was the day for you. Of course, you could always do that in our Facebook group. And, of course, you could do that in our Facebook group. And we also have Football Free-for-All tomorrow where you can talk about any football game you like on our show. But today is our NFL show.
So back to the Vikings and Chiefs. I like the Vikings on the road. Fact is, Mahomes out, to your point. They've been dinking, then they got a dunk. Sammy Watkins hasn't really been productive. I know he's been hurt. He came back last week. I like the Vikings secondary in this game. Kirk Cousins has been playing well. Stephon Diggs seems to have started to warm up. And then you got Dalvin Cook. So I think the Vikings running game, the fact they got a secondary against Matt Moore, I'll take the Vikings on the road here. I like the Vikings all day here.
Yeah, just a reminder to people watching the show. The format of this show is we just go through all the games, so you don't need to post, what games you want to see. If it's an NFL game, we're going to go over the entire schedule on today's show. So far, we've gone. This is the fourth game we've gotten to. We're going right in order of the time being played. Yeah, this is a tough one for me because it's like the Chiefs. It's like I understand, but these are major quarterback problems that they have. They do not have. We've seen some teams throughout time that have had good quarterback backups. Matt Moore was a good quarterback, but that was a while ago. It's kind of like, he really isn't a viable option anymore, and the whole idea of
Right, can he dink? Yeah, he can dink, but he can't really dunk.
He is better than Chad Henne. He's way better than Chad Henne, which is who we would see for the Chiefs.
He's always been a serviceable Matt Moore, but to your point, I do think Father Time has caught up to him.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins used to be a backup QB, and we've seen some really good backup QBs throughout. Nick Foles was a backup QB, and Connor Gardner Minshew, right? And we see a bunch of guys do it. Earl Morrall, right, was backup QB, and
your boy Don Strock.
Yeah, Don Strock, Woodstock, right? There's been some great backup QBs. At this point in his career, Matt Moore is not one of them. I struggle with this game. I think this game goes under. The total has not come out in this game, and that's because of this situation, because I don't think there's a number they can put on this thing that's going to be low enough. I think, it's going to be in the low 30s in this game. So I'm waiting for the total, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to wait him out on it. But I think that I think I'm gonna lean to the Vikings right now. But I might change this on Sunday morning when we do our NFL show when we do our Sunday morning show, which of course Steve joins us for. Of course, Steve's podcast is Sports with Mono e Mono. Yesterday we went over the logos choices for the show, and they do have a new logo. So Cookie Puss is put to rest as far as the logo goes.
Little ribbing on the logo.
It is. I'll just say.
Gotta have some rhinoceros skin in this game. So
I'll just say uncanny resemblance. I'll just throw that out there. It's like, what are you guys looking for? Like, people, this is when you design a logo. I don't know how many of you have ever had a logo for a business, like when we designed the Pick Dogs logo and stuff. What exactly are you guys looking for? Cookie Puss? Have you ever been to Carvel?
Do you associate sports with Cookie Puss? Hear me out here.
I love. Well, what's the point of the Cookie Puss with the sport? I just like cake. I like ice cream cake. It's like, you got ice cream?
I got to a party, Cookie Puss is there.
You got ice cream? You got cake? It's an ice cream cake. Problem solved.
Do you not talk sports around parties with Cookie Puss in the room? Really?
All right. I'm with you guys. I'm in. Panthers laying 3.5 at home here against the Titans. This one opened up at 4.5. The Ryan Tannehill show is in town. He's 2-0 as a starter. Man, he looked pretty shaky at times against the Bucs, and he really looks lost out there. When he looks lost, he started to get that look in his eyes. Meanwhile, the Panthers, man, San Francisco, they never got off the bus. They did not. Routed, and that touchdown by Boza on the interception is something that we're going to have to watch for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, well, you got to credit Nick Bosa. Man, this kid's really been playing real well. Not that he has anything to do with this week and the Panthers, but I love the Panthers at home here, rebounding from their poor performance in San Francisco. Kyle Allen getting his first loss. Tannehill's still the quarterback for the Titans. They're on the road at the Panthers. I love the Panthers here. On the points here. Last I saw 3.5. I'll take the Panthers here all day long.
All right, I'm kind of on the fence on this one. I don't like that hook, but I tell you what I like less, and that's Ryan Tannehill. I'm going to take the Panthers here minus the 3.5 as well. Going to agree on this one. So far, we've agreed on most except for that Bears-Eagles battle.
True. You like the Niners? I don't think. You like the over on this one.
We'll go to Pittsburgh, where the line has inverted. The Steelers were 2.5-point favorites. Now they're 1-point dogs. The Colts big favorites in this one. 63% of the public is on them. The Steelers played on Monday night against the Dolphins. They spotted the Dolphins 14 points, came back, did not cover the spread, but if you watched my halftime show, we covered. And matter of fact, we laid a couple extra points on there, so we actually ended up with plus money on that game with our halftime pick. Of course, I'll be live at halftime tonight of that dandy from Arizona.
I tell you, ooh.
I mean, we used to play drinking games in college. I don't drink anymore, but we used to play drinking games in college with like Bob Newhart and things like that. And I'm going to say that, I think that tonight's word should be Cliff Kingsbury. I think that would be a good drinking game word for if you're into that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So, Colts Steelers. My thoughts. The fact that James Conner got hurt, I know he may play, but he screwed up his shoulder. I think Conner was starting to come on for the Steelers. I still like the Colts. Ever since I've been on your show, I've been touting them. And I'm not, even though they're on the road, I think Brissett, the offensive line, Colts defense, I think they've been playing well. I'll take the Colts on the road here. Mason Rudolph is the quarterback for the Steelers. I get their defense has been playing much better. They're in a crappy division, and if they win, they're right in contention to win the division title at, a 7-9 clip at this point, 8-8, whatever, outside of Baltimore. But I like the Colts. I think the Colts are an underrated team, and I can see them winning or losing by a point and covering. So
let's just say the calls in Pittsburgh are so shitty that's where instant replay in the NFL originated.
That's a valid point. It is a valid point.
It is the truth. Cordell Stewart, out of the end zone, back into the end zone, out of the end zone, back into the end zone, catches the
immaculate reception. Mike Renfro's feet being out in 82, 81.
Mel Blount.
Houston Steelers championship game. Mike Renfro's feet were absolutely in.
Yeah, Mel Blount. It goes on and on and on. But instant replay was invented in Pittsburgh, and for good reason. It's the home of the shit call, and I tell you, the Colts set up for a shit call type team. They just do, and I still think they make the playoffs. I still think they're going to be a good team. I think all that stuff is true, but it's like this 1 point and all that other stuff. It just looks like one of those games where it's like the shit call. He misses the field goal at the end, and then leaping, right? They call leaping, which is jumping to try and block the kick, which, this could be the worst call since that Game 6, Trey Turner running to first base. You're out. There's been some bad calls. It's like you were running towards the bag. You're out. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I'm not a fan of the guys that called the game of Joe Buck, whatever, but I'm not a fan of those guys that called the game. I think that, and it's nice that McCarver's out of the booth, but it's like, you almost just had to feel for him when he just said, there's no possible way in the time that I have allotted here that we could even begin to explain this rule in a way that you could understand it, because nobody does. And that will be a rule that will be changed in the upcoming season. It's kind of like
interpretation. Yeah,
interpretation. There's a few interpretation rules, the catcher block and the plate rule. It's like, why can't the catcher block the plate? That's the game, right? I always was a big fan of the horse collar. When I played, I was always one of the smallest guys out there, and I'll tell you what, man, I had no problem grabbing the horse collar and basically almost sticking a foot in the guy's back to bring him down if that's what it took, because they were usually much bigger than me, especially if it was a running back. Wide receiver, but a big running back, like a big high school running back,
That was the only way you could get him down, then, horse collar it will be.
It was, and nobody called anything,
But I coached 12 and 13-year-old football. I got to tell you, this season, I will say there's probably been about 5 horse collar tackles, maybe 3 against us. Does the kid get hurt? No, but it looks a lot worse than what actually just transpired.
When I played football, we were taught face on the ball tackling. That's what we were taught. If you knocked yourself unconscious, so be it. As long as he's
He'll be back in tomorrow.
Oh, I got popped on a kickoff return one time. I woke up in the second half. I mean, I got just I was not in the back, guys. I was like in the next row up. The ball's like bouncing around. I pick it up. I'm running behind the wall. It's wall left. I'm running. I'm gone. The kicker, I never saw him. He just knocked me out. I fumbled. They recovered. Scored a touchdown. It was just, the opening kickoff of the game. It was just disaster.
Smelling salts back in the day.
Oh, I was out. 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 And, I was out a couple other times where I had laid the hit on guys. And, everyone was just a lot bigger than me. And that's just the way it's going to be. But anyways.
It's a game. It's a violent game.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that this Pittsburgh game, I see a missed field goal, a bad call, the kicker being brought back on the field to kick the game winner type game for the Steelers. Let's go to Miami, where the Dolphins take on the Jets. This is a rivalry game. Don't kid yourself. This is a rivalry game.
A lot of history between these two franchises.
Yeah, and this is this could be the Dolphins' best chance to win a game this season. They're 3-4 against the number this season. The Jets 2-5 and 0-3 straight up on the road. Yet they're 3-point favorites here at Miami, a place that has not been kind to them over the years. Sam Darnold has looked anything but like an NFL QB in recent weeks. He's a guy who, when you expect him to start to get better, and he was the guy that I was kind of behind when they drafted him, he's supposed to get better. He actually is getting worse. And maybe it's a change of scenery, maybe it's coaching, whatever, lack of coaching. Regardless, I like the Dolphins in here to get their first win of the season. I like them on the money line.
Okay. Well, as the audience may or may not know, I live right, in North Jersey. Jets, Giants are in my backyard here. There's been a lot of dissension here, especially with the trade deadline just passing. Jamal Adams was on the block. There was rumors Le'Veon Bell was on the block. They traded Leonard Williams to the Giants. Adam Gase is really not one of the most popular coaches in the league right now. To your point, Sam Darnold looks like he's regressing. The Jets' offensive line absolutely stinks. C.J. Mosley's out. So we have, this dynamic here where everybody thinks the Dolphins are tanking because there's actually some contention for that number one pick because the Bengals haven't won, and you got a couple other one-loss teams. That being said, as bad as things are with the Jets, I like them to come down. I think there's a lot of pressure on them to perform, and I like the Jets to get out of there and win by a touchdown. I hate saying it because both teams are just god-awful, but somebody's got to win this one.
Jay just said, I just got a thing to obey the rules. All I did was give my college. Yeah, so we have a place where you give out your college picks, and it's called our Facebook group. This is my show and Steve's show, and this is where we give out our picks. If you would like to have a show where you give out your picks, I won't be coming on your show and going into the comments and telling everybody my picks. We have a place for you to give your picks, and it's called the Facebook group. That's all I'm saying. And I'm going to stick by that point, and I don't care if people get mad at me or they don't.
I appreciate you listening, Jack.
If not that, if we don't have rules, there's chaos.
There's chaos.
Who knows
what kind of society are we living in?
Cats and dogs playing together. Got Buffalo hosting the Washington Redskins. The Bills 9.5-point favorites. They looked pretty sick last week against the Eagles. It's really the worst that they've looked this season. They had lost one of the game. It was also at home. It was against the Patriots. Meanwhile, the Redskins, they still got that one win on the season. That was against the Dolphins. Meanwhile, coming off of a Thursday night performance, no problem, Jay. We're good. Yeah, it's all good. All good. We're all good. That's why I said come to the Facebook group, man.
Thank you for listening.
It's crazy. We got
no need to apologize.
We got 1,750 people right now in our Facebook group, and it grows more and more every day. And everyone's talking about games all day long. That's all we're doing. It's like, some people take it a little too far. So it's like, but we manage it, and it's great. We don't have any spammers in there or anything. Really, really, I have to say, I've had 3 Facebook groups, and 2 of them are 10 times the size of this one, But this is the best fate. This is the best group I ever had.
Good group. Good group.
Great group. Just a great super group. Just a great bunch of guys and women. Just a really
Just a great group.
I can't say enough about that group. But anyways, I really don't like the way the Bills looked last week against Carson Wentz and the Eagles. They played them really tough in the first half. Maybe it's just a team that they don't match up against. I don't know. But the Redskins don't seem to be matching up. Anyway, the group is called Pick Dogs. Exactly how it's spelled on my shirt. PICKDAWGZ. I can post a link to the group on the YouTube video. That would be pretty convenient of me to do that. But I'll post a link to the group. And, of course, almost everybody's welcome. Except for the spammers.
Yeah.
There you go. But, yeah. So the Bills and the Redskins, and the Bills bounce back. 9.5 a lot. There's a Redskins team that hung in there in Minnesota.
I know. I think the 9.5 is too much for me. I think that the Redskins are playing better. I think the Bills have come back to earth a little bit. I still like them. I've been touting their defense. I've been touting Sean McDonough. I think Josh Allen in the second year is still an up and down quarterback. They still have Frank Gore. They got Devin Singletary. I don't think the rushing game for the Bills has really been really good. Case Keenum, I can see managing the game, Bill Callahan, blah, blah, blah. The point is, I still think the Bills win, but I just don't think they cover the 9.5. And I'll take the Redskins with the points.
You said Case Keenum and the oatmeal just slid over.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about, Len Dawson here. I'm talking about, he's been on 3 NFL teams. He's not the worst quarterback we've ever seen. He's more of a game manager if he's on. That's my point.
I was sent one of the best posts today on Facebook. I'm going to show you guys with my camera. I'm going to just show my screen. My friend Pete sent it to me. And I just really, really love this. You guys know how much I love this guy, so you guys will see it. Let's see if we can get on this one. There we go. All right. It says 10 facts about Taysom Hill. Let's see. There we go. 10 facts about Taysom Hill. Counted to infinity 3 times. Ordered a Big Mac at Burger King and got one. Found the end of a circle. Created the giraffe by uppercutting a horse. Favorite candy is the Jawbreaker. Mike Tyson chipped his tooth on Taysom's ear. Killed 2 stones with 1 bird. Makes onions cry. Tells Simon what to do. Superman, Batman, and Chuck Norris wear Taysom Hill pajamas. I'm in. I love Taysom Hill. I'm one of the big
That's
Taysom
some good
Hill.
Compliments, Mr. Taysom Hill. Wow.
I'm a huge Taysom Hill fan. I'm a huge Taysom.
And he remains what? The 3rd string quarterback in New Orleans for what?
Pedro Nunez is saying he doesn't see my 1 less loss record on the website, and I don't have it up yet, but I can for the premium. I'm assuming you're saying, but I have it right here on a spreadsheet that I'm keeping, and it's going to be put into the site. I'll show you guys that screen as well. It's right here, and you can see all my games that I've picked in the premium area with the final score and the result. I count minus 110 on the losses and plus 100 on the wins, unless it's a money line like we had the Nationals. 2 days ago, they were plus 178 with Strasburg. But you can see all the games that we picked in the premium, and there you can see where we are since the premium started. If you bet $100 on every game, you're up $778. There it is. You're actually up. I didn't put last night's game, so you're actually up a little bit more.
Question: Isn't Haskins starting for Washington?
If he is, I like the Bills a lot.
I don't know that to be a fact at this point on Thursday. I wouldn't be surprised if he is. I still, I'll take the Redskins in the points here.
Haskins is reminding me a lot of Cardell Jones, another Ohio State quarterback who really took advantage.
He just recently got cut. I don't know if anybody picked him up.
He played I'm not saying he was not talented or anything like that. I'm just saying he played on a really good team, and most quarterbacks that if you can get recruited by Ohio State to play, Davis is about to get kicked off our show also. This is our NFL show. I'm just not really sure how better and clearer to make this to people. It says NFL on the thing. It says
NFL Week 9 says
Yesterday we did our college football show.
10:31 says
Tomorrow's our free for all. So I'm just not really sure what more I can do here. I try my best I can do to hold it together, but you guys somehow find a way to push me to the limit. And I know you guys get off on it, so that's okay. I get it.
Cool.
But anyways, let's get to our next matchup here. As I like the Bills in that one. But what I was saying was that Ohio State quarterbacks, we sometimes see these quarterbacks that play on great teams, and Haskins was a good quarterback on a good team, and he was able to hit receivers in those crossing routes, which Urban Meyer is genius when it comes to designing the crossing route. I saw a new crossing route that Ohio State is running this season that I have never seen before, and I've watched, ridiculous amounts of football, and I know I don't talk X's and O's. The only thing I ever talk X's and O's on the show about, or any of my videos that I've ever talked X's and O's about, and I've done this on other people's shows too, when I'm on and I'm the guest and I won't leave and I have to talk about the X's and O's. And defensively, I always talk X's and O's because I say, if you have a nose tackle that requires double teaming, then somebody else is running free, and he usually gets a free pot shot at the quarterback. And that's why a guy like Vince Wilfork, who actually takes 3 blockers, gets 2 guys at the pot shot. And they try to explain how that works. And then you get these corners that can cover man coverage there. You just get 2 of them, and now you got other guys running free, and they're all blitzing, and it's before you know it, stretcher time, right? But anyways.
You got 6 Super Bowl titles in New England.
So Urban Meyer runs these crossing patterns at Ohio State that made Haskins look extremely good. Throw in an NFL offensive line that he had playing against a fairly soft schedule for the Buckeyes, he looked even better. But what they've developed at Ohio State this year, and I don't know if Meyer had developed it and they just started running it, is a crossing pattern where the receivers don't just cross. The secondary receiver goes up. He goes up and through. So while the defender is waiting over here for the receiver to cross, the receiver's here. And he hits him over the top, and it's the guy who wasn't recruited, whatever. He's the one, the superstar wide receiver in Ohio State this year. He's the guy who's running that pattern. He's catching the ball every single time it's a touchdown. I haven't seen it completed once so far this season where it wasn't a touchdown. And it's one of those where it looks like it's a very simple play, but it's actually a very sophisticated crossing pattern where they cross, and instead of what the defender's waiting over here for him to cross and they're going to pick him up, he cuts it up and he's gone. And you saw him do it against Wisconsin, and they had no answer. They had no answer for it. But anyways, that's why I think Haskins, another guy, even though it was Ohio State, even though soft schedule, all that other stuff, and all these other things I said about him, if he would have stayed another year, he certainly would have been in better shape, and Justin Fields would not have transferred to Ohio State. He would have still been the starter there. It would have been a whole different scenario in college football this year. Justin Fields would probably be at Oklahoma, and they'd probably be, he'd probably win a Heisman there. But let's go to Seattle. The Seahawks, Pete Carroll, 6-2. When the Seahawks lose, very, very hard to explain exactly what's going on with them. But 6-2, you can't complain. That translates, over the course of a 16-game schedule to 12-4, and that most certainly will get you in and probably a home game in the playoffs. Playing against the Tampa Bay Bucks, I know I took them last week, plus the 2.5. They were in it the whole way. They spotted the Titans' points, came back, took the lead, and then they turned the ball over a couple times, and Ryan Tannehill throw a pass over the middle. And it's how do you let that guy throw a pass over the middle? It's I didn't even think he could. I've seen him for years in Miami. I've never seen him throw a pass over the middle, but at least that wasn't intercepted. And there he did it against Tampa Bay into the end zone. He is the king of the 12-yard drive, especially when they need 13. But he did get the touchdown there, and they did get the win. They won by 4. They were favored by 2.5. You can't really take that away from them. But both their wins for the Bucs have been on the road. It's got the Seahawks, Russell Wilson, 405 start, tough building, and a quarterback that gets confused easily.
Which quarterback would that be?
That'd be Jameis, your guy.
Oh, famous Jameis. How the king crab legs out in Seattle this time of year?
Cheap.
Huh?
Cheap.
Deadliest Catch coming back with some stuff that maybe keep the price down low.
Could be.
Listen,
Opie season.
you know,
When I saw Opie season was a home run, and of course the king crab, Red King.
Of course. So everybody knows, I would think on the show, that the Bucs went to the LA Coliseum. What? A month ago, 4 weeks, 3 weeks ago, laid 55 on the Rams. Nobody and their mother ever saw that coming, especially with Jameis Winston at the helm. Bruce Arians, good offensive coach. However, I think this is too much of a tall task for Tampa Bay going into a venue that's very difficult to play. Huge Russell Wilson fan, 6-2. Love the Seahawks here, winning by a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks too against the Bucs. I think the Bucs play tough. 6 is a lot for me to lay in a Seattle game because generally they're kind of all over the place. But in this one, I think I'm going to go with the Seahawks. At least that's my lean. I might change on Sunday. You guys know I've been known to do that before, but right now,
you are subject to change by Sunday.
It's a lean to the Seahawks at best. We'll go to the next game. It is. I got someone at my door, but I can't answer it. We'll go to the next game, and that's going to be the Raiders up against the Lions. The Raiders laying 2 in this one at home, and so the Raiders are laying 2 points at home, and I was calling my wife's phone now. It's sitting right here. But
you gonna answer the phone?
No, we're gonna let you answer this. Talk about this game, and I'm gonna text this guy and tell him I'm on the show, and we know what takes precedent in my world. We're talking talk football or answer the phone.
Anyways, all right, so I can talk about the Detroit Lions coming across the country to play the Oakland Raiders. Detroit is missing their running back, Kerryon Johnson, still a little hurt. Stafford, we talk about. He can throw for over 330 and 3-4 touchdowns, but does that translate to a victory? I like the Raiders. They've been on the road lately. I think they'll settle in at home. I like the Raiders here by a field goal, no question. The Raiders aren't as bad as I thought they would be at this point. They've been competitive. They can score points, and I'll take them at home here to cover. And it's a small spread, so I like the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Raiders here too at home. I like the inverse line movement, even though it's mild. The Raiders were 1.5-point favorites. Now they're 2-point favorites with 46% of the public on the silver and black. I like what John Gruden is doing, and I know that some people are critical of the way he coaches, and they have been for a very long time. He's made some pretty interesting personnel decisions and some tough personnel decisions there for the Raiders, and he continues to do so every week because I'm one of those idiots that even though they moved the transaction report on ESPN to like a tab and then you have to go down and over to find it, I still read the transaction report as the first thing I do every morning. I don't know. Maybe it's because like in the old days when we used to get the newspaper, that was always the first thing that I always checked was that little... Right?
The way to thank the year was making the 53-man roster, man.
Yep.
That was a cup of coffee for 25 minutes and scroll through
your mother would be like, "Can I throw this out? I'm still looking at it. Can I take it out? I'm just going to keep this." But I love the transaction report. I read it on ESPN. Sometimes they don't update it all the time, but I noticed that the Raiders had made some interesting moves. Dakota Allen was waived, and Kasim Edsall and Corey Legit, who was I didn't even know he was on the team, but he's been a hell of a player for San Diego, and of course out of Illinois. That was the name I was looking for. And Terrell McClain signed as a defensive tackle. I don't know.
Well, the Cowboys had him a couple of years ago. I mean, he's a journeyman D lineman, but you got to fill your cupboard, right?
Yeah, and I think it's just a matter of we're at that point of the season, and you're seeing it across rosters where the practice squad players, and I know exactly what the coaching conversations are with these practice squad players when they're cutting them. It's like they only allow me X amount of guys and we're playing these guys, and this is what they have, and this is what I need this week. We might be calling you right back next week, But it's like, you're a tight end, and we need a linebacker here. It's always a numbers game when it comes to at this point of the season already, because we're about halfway through, and these guys, and we're starting to see that. And like I said, the Raiders, I didn't even know he was on the team, to be honest with you. But let's get back to the action here. The Chargers up against the Packers. This is as weird as it gets. These teams, they just don't play each other. And the Packers coming off of the 1-point win, or the Chargers coming off the 1-point win last week. I did take them in that game. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why, but I did take them, and they walked out with the 1-point win against the Bears. It's because I've been fading Trubisky, but it was, again, a 1-point game for the Bears. And then, you have Green Bay. They won that game against Kansas City on Sunday night. Of course, no Mahomes, but they covered that spread. At halftime, I really thought the Chiefs were going to win that game because were running the dink and dunk, and it was effective. And at the time, at halftime, after the Packers had taken a 14-0 lead and the Chiefs rolled back, I didn't see where the Packers defense had any answers whatsoever for what the Chiefs were doing, and I guess they did make some adjustments and they did have answers. Oh man, Phillip Rivers, if you can figure this guy out, it's just very, very, very tough to figure out the Chargers. But this is a team that was 12-4 last season. Now they're 3-5.
I'm actually going to take the Chargers here because I think they can't play any worse than what they have. To your point, Phillip Rivers, pick your poison with them. Either they fall short, he has a great game, and, it's never really on Rivers. Something always happens. I think the Packers probably due for a dud, and I think the Chargers make a run. Not saying they're going to go on this torrid run, but self-respectable run. And the point is, they were 12-4 last year, like you said, so they're talented. Melvin Gordon's got to get going, and I'll take the Chargers at home here. I think the Packers are ready to take one on the chin.
Yeah, I think this is a tough game for me, and I've kind of gone back and forth on it. I could see the Packers winning, but I could see the Chargers covering. So I'm going to take the Chargers in the points. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's one of those games Mason Crosby makes it, Mason Crosby misses it. I think that's what it comes down to. We got the Browns against the Broncos, and people still have not given up on the Cleveland Browns. Man, they have been a cash machine for us, though. I love betting against the Cleveland Browns, and I've done this successfully for a long time. I love it when people who aren't sharp money talk about sharp money, and whenever that happens, oh man, it's just, you don't even have to. I never use the word lock. I never use the word an automatic win, or I never use the word easy win. But I'll tell you what, you get people that are not sharps talking about sharp money going on a team. It's a good time to go the other way. Oh, the sharp money's all on Browns. All the square money's on the Patriots. It's like, yeah, okay. Give me 3 dimes on the Pats. How about that? And you know what? If you say Browns again, I'm going another 3 dimes. It's like, that's pretty much how that works. And
Browns, another dime. Browns, another dime.
Yeah, I did a video today on how much should I bet on the game. A lot of people asked me that question, so I did a video, about 7-minute video about on the topic of how much should I bet on the game. I get that question. How much should I bet on this? It's like, I can't make that decision for you. It's like, I can tell you how I bet games, but I can't make a decision for you. Yeah, put 30 grand on it. It's like, I don't even know if you have it. It's like, it's a tough question to ask somebody. But it's like, or it's like, I have $500. I want to bet on a game. It's like, is that all the money you have? If it is, and it's going to impact your life, then don't bet any of it. It's. I mean, all these things I say in the video, but I say once in a while, a game will come along. You see Clemson playing Ohio State in a playoff game, and Ohio State's favored in the game, and it's just like, oh my God!
Clemson.
Yeah, Notre Dame against Miami a couple of years ago on the road, and of course that Notre Dame Alabama game where Urban Meyer picked Notre Dame to win that game before, and then at halftime they interviewed Brian Kelly, and the first words out of his mouth, It's all Alabama out here. But
yes, it was.
The sharp money's been following the Browns, and the Browns are once again, the sharp money is on them. Broncos were a 1.5 favorite here. Now they're 3-point dogs at home against the Cleveland Browns team, 2-5. You got Baker Mayfield against another decent defense, and you have Joe Flacco against a defense that's really underperformed, but they do have a great pass rusher, Myles Garrett, who under the radar #1 overall pick, who actually is a really, really nice player, and I liked him at Texas A&M too.
Hey, Baker is very immature right now. He's getting into a beef in press conferences in Cleveland. Things are not going well in the Cleveland locker room. Freddie Kitchens is being questioned. Baker Mayfield can't get out of his own way right now. You just wait for OBJ to start making it about himself. The Broncos, they play hard. They're home. Until the Browns can right their ship, I'll take the Broncos here at home.
Kareem Hunt is eligible next week for the Browns. So
Kareem. He's not out this week, but it's next week. So
yes.
That doesn't help the cause this week.
Yes, he will be available next week against the Bills.
Oh, that's one.
If he doesn't find a woman to beat up between now and then.
No, I'm sure the Cleveland's got a couple guys, keeping him out of trouble there.
Anyone else enjoy seeing Osuna get smacked around last night? I was one of those people.
Hello.
Pointed him out to my wife. That's the scumbag I was talking about. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco is out for this one. Just really a laundry list of players out for the Broncos. Bud is out and Chubb is
I'm
out.
subject to change on this one. I want to see exactly how many are out.
I would say a laundry list is out. An entire
all right, but I like the fact that they're home and Cleveland is really absolute disaster.
You give me points against Cleveland at home with anybody, I'm going to take the other team every single time. I'm on the Broncos in this one as well. We go to Sunday night. Finally. The Sunday night game matchups have been really nice matchups. The Thursday night games and the Monday night games have been just brutal.
This is a good one.
This is Thursday night or Sunday night, and the Ravens coming off of the bye week. They don't like the Patriots, and they generally play them really, really tough. Meanwhile, the Patriots coming off of last week, so they're undefeated coming in. They're untested. They played their toughest game has been the Buffalo Bills. People are saying the 49ers are the best team in the NFL. Usually Tom Brady loves a challenge.
Yep.
But I'm going to, everyone knows where I'm going with this one. I'm rooting for the Ravens, so I might as well put a couple bucks on it, but certainly not a 10-star player or anything.
Yeah. This is subject to change, obviously, as the game approaches on when we do our Sunday show. But right now, I think I'd lean towards the Pats. I think you got Belichick really in his laboratory thinking about Lamar Jackson and how to game plan him. I really see the Patriots trying to confine him and shutting down him running outside, let him beat you with the pass. Pat's defense has been just lights out all year. Then you got Brady on the other side and the efficiency with the Pats. Granted, Baltimore's coming off a bye week. They should be healthy, rested, incentivized to beat the Pats. But listen, the Pats are still undefeated. I'll take Brady, Belichick here, and I like the Pats on the road.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Ravens here. I just really think that this is their spot, and no one goes undefeated, and I mean it's just
no, I'm not saying they will either.
It just seems like a likely spot for them to do it. But I think this one's all. I think the Ravens get the best of it, and I think the crowd, and I think that a guy like Lamar Jackson is the type of guy that can break the Belichick game plan. It takes, he forces a guy to make, to beat him, and I think Lamar Jackson has the speed to break that game plan. I just think he does.
Well, Talking about one of the best defensive minds in the history of the NFL. So we shall see.
Yeah, so we go to Monday night, and I don't know. They got the Giants hosting the Cowboys. By the way, in this Ravens game, major inverse line movement on this game, with the Ravens going from 4-point dogs to 3-point dogs with like 30% of the public on them. But we go to the Cowboys and the Giants. I don't know, man. This game just never makes any sense. It's always one of the ugliest games out there. It just seems that the Giants have a way of dragging the Cowboys down to their level, and they just always seem to be able to do it. The Giants are 7-point dogs in this one. Dallas 1-2 on the road in this season. They've already lost in this stadium, and they lost to arguably a worse team than this. And it wasn't close.
Not arguably, they lost to a worse team than this.
Yeah.
I like the Cowboys here to rebound. I do. Listen, if Cooper's healthy and Elliott's healthy, I like the fact that they're scoring points. The Giants is still, the kid Daniel Jones is still learning. The offensive line for the Giants stinks. Barkley, of course, is a special talent, but if you can't block for him, they'll game plan to stop Barkley. Cowboys have been healthy lately. A lot of guys have come back. So defensively, I like them. And the Cowboys, I think the fact that they were just in MetLife Stadium and laid it a big egg incentivized them too. So I like the Cowboys too.
Yeah, I like the Giants in this one. I just think, like I said, they just drag them down to their level, and that's what they do. I don't like the way the Cowboys have looked on the road. This is going to be one of those games that's going to come down to the kicker and at the end. And you just know it. The average margin of victory.
You mean the Cowboy kicker that hit a 63-yarder?
He's great. He's great. I think it's going to go the other way, though. I think it's going to be the other kicker. And I think that what we've seen from the Cowboys on the road is not inspiring. It's just not.
My point is, I think you're going to see a better Cowboy team on the road. That's why I think they mean business when they come back.
I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think when Eli Manning signed the locker room in Dallas, he did it because he knew they had their number, and they have had their number for quite some time, especially when it comes to the spread. Like I said, I think this game could go either way, but if this game goes 19-13, is anyone surprised? The average margin of victory in an NFL game is 5 points. You're getting 7 points with a home team, which is basically the game is really 4 because the home team gets 3 built in automatically. So 19-15, 20-16, 22-18. I mean, those are all possibilities, in this one. No one gets on
the Cowboys.
I'm naming like Chicago Bears.
I like
no one gets on the weird number like the Chicago Bears, right? The Seahawks and the Bears is just. I mean, if you're in one of those box pools and you've got 4 and 9 or something, you're probably okay. If it's Seahawks Bears. But all right, so I'm gonna go with the Giants though. I'm just gonna stick with them. I just think they give the Cowboys problems, and I know you're on the Cowboys here. So I'll just recap what we went over on the show. Of course, if you're watching us, if you could hit the thumbs up, it is greatly appreciated. Costs you nothing. It takes you about a half a second. If you're watching us on a mobile device, the way to do that is to shrink the comments and hit the thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, then do so. I posted the link to our Facebook group inside the comments, and also Steve's podcast, Sports with Mono and Mono. On Mono. It's available on YouTube as well as the SoundCloud. They've changed the logo. Steve's anti-cookie post now. I don't know how that's even possible, but who doesn't like cookies and ice cream? I guess the Monahan brothers.
I know. Hello.
I guess it's the Monahan brothers. Anyways, I like the over tonight. Steve likes the 49ers. We both took the Jags. I like the Bears plus the points. I think they lose but cover. I think when we start getting into like week 9, these are the games where the favorite wins and doesn't cover. The hardest ones, right, to hit. I like the Bears plus the points. We both have the Vikings. We both have the Panthers. Steve likes the Colts. I like the Steelers. The home of the shit call.
That is true, though.
I took the Dolphins. Steve took the Jets. I took the Bills. Steve took the Redskins. We both took the Seahawks. Steve and I both took the Chargers. We both took the Broncos. Steve took the Patriots. I took the Ravens. Steve took the Cowboys, which he's been wrong on almost all their games this season. And I took the Giants. This is Mitch. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Football Free-for-All, where all of the questions will come from you guys. I get out of the house every single day. I play golf. I had 3 birdies today, and I'll tell you what, I burned the edge about 6 other times. I hit a 7-iron into a par 3 today. It was a pin rattler. It was like I thought it was going in. Still don't have that hole in one, but it was kicking birdie. I had all my birdies were really nice, and I'll tell you, I missed one on 8 that, I don't even know how the ball ends up where it ends up without it going in the hole. It goes around the thing and it comes back at me. And it just barely. It was like the speed was just perfect, and it just goes around. That's why we love it. Anyways, this is Mitch. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tonight at halftime. Have a happy and safe Halloween. And we know
happy Halloween, everybody. Have a great night.
Stay away from the unwrapped candy. Just please, just stay away from the unwrapped candy.